Good day.
The training of the Defense Corps proceeded smoothly.
Guess you know what you're doing. All right, Rubelox. You can run this outfit a little longer.
Though they barked and whined, former Captain Douglas and his soldiers endured my training. The time had come for Folka to see them reborn. I proposed a patrol, the foremost duty of a guard, for evil, infirm of purpose, dares not stir beneath a watchful eye.
That's a bad idea.
I looked sharply at Douglas, who paced back and forth. Why do you waver?
Why do you think? We've been losers our whole lives. We can't go out there now and dance around the place like we own it. They're gonna laugh at us.
As a soldier, you must not weigh pride against duty. Now, this is a direct order from your captain. Move out. All came to pass as Douglas feared. In the streets of the city, children pointed, men jeered, and women laughed. Behind me, I could feel the will of my band weakening. Do not falter. Remember, shame should not hinder, but rather drive you to do good. The eye sees only the present, and the past is soon forgotten. There was no more I could do for them. The Corps would have to reclaim their own honor. I led them on without another backward glance.
Hey, look! It's the March of the Freeloaders! Must be nice getting paid to take a little stroll!
These barbed words were slung at us before the tavern. The speaker was a red-faced man, no doubt set on by excessive wine. I slowed my pace. It was true that the Corps had brought this scorn upon their heads, yet what remedy could poisoned tongues offer? I never intended for them to be thus reviled. Turning, I walked up to the drunkard.
You got a problem, big guy?
The man shook in fear. But I did no more than bow to him. Forgive us. It is the part of a leader to bear the faults of his followers. For who will answer to a lord that will not answer for them? I am now the captain of the Corps, and speak on their behalf. We have failed you in the past. For that, we are sorry. But these soldiers are now changed. Give us time, and I swear on my honor we will set things right. Amazement flashed into the man's eyes, clearing the fog of drunkenness. Shamefaced, he hurried away.
I wanted to apologize, Captain Percival.
Douglas's voice sounded behind me.
It's our fault you had to grovel to a juicehead like that.
Enough. I held up a hand. Power is ever conjoined with responsibility. I did no more than duty commanded. Now come. The day wears on. It is time for training. At the guardhouse, the men fell to their drills with vigor. Put your back into your swings! Stand firm! You are the first defense of your people. Bear yourselves with pride! Yes, sir! Their voices were clear, and their movements strong. Soon, I thought, they would be a match even for the forces of Avia.
Bad news! Those Avia rats are back!
The day that would test the valor of the Corps came sooner than expected. I looked up at the soldier, who had burst breathless into the guardhouse. Report!
An armed group thought to be connected with Avia is occupying the mines of Tempeel. They've taken the reconstruction workers captive, including several residents of Folka.
It would be a dangerous rescue for the Corps, who were yet untried in combat. But the soldiers quickly showed me they had not failed their training.
Captain Percival, let's fight back! We're ready! We can save those hostages!
No. I sensed something strange at work. It had been the aim of the ruined church to bolster their ranks with new converts from Folka. Why then would they occupy their mines and threaten their people? Surely it was not for ransom. The adherents of Avia held their faith high above the jewels of the earth. This had to be a trap. Of course, trap or no, the Corps could easily overthrow Avia, as long as I led them. But I could not stay in Folka forever. And so I said, do not let confidence consume your wisdom. Your duty is to protect your people, not to prove your strength. You do not know the designs of your enemy, nor whether your might can contend with theirs. You must call for aid. I saw that my warning had disheartened the soldiers. I could not blame them. They had struggled so far, only to learn that they still fell short. But glory must not be bought with blood. The lives of the islanders came first. Drawing myself up, I strove to lift their spirits. Your city needs you. There is much work to be done. Learn what you can from those that escaped the mines. Muster the defenses. Let your people know they are safe.
Yes, sir! But Captain Percival, the clock is ticking. What if the Skyfarers and reinforcements from Seed Hollow don't make it in time?
I could not hold back a smile. Do not worry. I know a crew of Skyfarers already at hand. First, to secure the hostages.
Wait! That hair! It's the rooster head from Folka! To arms, brethren!
Sentries. You will wish you never saw me. There must be more of them.
How'd you get in here? Where are the lookouts? Sleep on the job? You'll never know!
There are too few of them. Their main force must be headed for Folka. Perhaps I should turn back. No. I must have faith in my comrades. All the hostages are behind bars. At least they will be kept safe from the battle.
Who are you?
You may know me as the Lord of Flames.
Are you here to save us?
Scarlet Sword, shall we meet again, Lord?
But unfortunately for you, this battle won't go like the last one!
Not many who survived my flames dare to face them again. You are either brave or a fool.
I can't believe it! They're winning our budget to run! How? The stars forsaken us!
The stars do not decide our fate. We do. In turning to treachery and force, you built your life. It will take more time to bind these Crusaders than it did to defeat them. I bound the hands of the Crusaders, and turned them captive toward Folka.
Why, here's a stalwart little interloper. You could do far better than skyfaring, you know.
Keep silent. I will not listen to the lies of a false prophet.
Then I guess you won't believe me when I say the mines were just a diversion. We sent our main force to Folka. They'll have captured the city by now. We'll raze it to the ground and build a new Church of Avia on the smoking ruins.
The preacher continued to lay bare his plot, though I had no desire to hear it.
I know this backcountry is filled with scurrying field mice. You Skyfarers were the only real threat. If we could keep you busy elsewhere, say, in some nice, dusty mines, then taking Folka would be like stealing candy from a baby.
Even now you know not of what you speak. I had already made out that the mines were not your true purpose, and you misjudge the people of Folka. There is great strength in that city. It will not fall to the likes of you.
That's hogwash!
If you will not trust my words, then perhaps you will trust your eyes. We had come to the gate of Folka.
Captain Percival, we've captured all the invaders. You should have seen us, Captain! No one messes with us on our turf!
There, trussed up before the city walls, were the remaining crusaders of Avia. The soldiers of the Corps stood over them, bloody but triumphant. And the air was bright and filled with rejoicing as the people of Folka cried glory unto their defenders.
Impossible. How could country mice have overthrown the High Hawks of Avia?
With that, the preacher fell to his knees and spoke no more.
Good day.
Several days later, I walked into the guardhouse for what would be the last time.
The captain's here! Attention!
In a moment, the soldiers were lined up before me. At ease. My friends, you have found your strength and your courage. The time has come for me to step down as your captain. For the space of a deep breath, the soldiers did not stir. I read in their eyes that they had long seen this day coming.
Captain Percival,
That title is no longer mine. I return it to you, Captain Douglas. You have become a worthy leader. I turned back toward the body of the Corps. I'm but a traveler. My allegiance lies with a distant country, a kingdom of peace that I shall one day build. But I believe that all who dwell in the skies are brothers and sisters. Though our time together was short, it was an honor to serve with you. You have shown that we need not be chained to our pasts, that valor can be kindled in every heart. When I raise my kingdom, I hope that you will one day visit to impart this lesson unto the knights there.
No, Sir Percival. You can count on me. Me too! It's a promise!
Mirth welled up within me. In one thing I thought, the Corps had not changed. They could still make me laugh. Very well. I will hold you to those oaths. And so, bidding my friends farewell, I took once more to the skies. It was many months before I could return to Folka. This city is still the same. A gentle breeze danced with the grass, Sunlight streamed from between the leaves of trees, paving the streets in green and gold. But snakes dwell even in the quietest of gardens. Peace presided over this land only because there was a valiant corps to keep it. I was once captain of the Vulcan Defense Corps, and though our paths led on to different ends, they would ever be my friends and comrades. In my heart, I saluted them.
Wait, aren't you?
Well met. I was not surprised we crossed paths. Fulca was a small city, and I knew the Defense Corps kept vigilant watch. I am glad to see you doing well.
We sure are. Even got a generation of new recruits trained up. So, when do you think you'll be inviting us to your kingdom?
I responded with a wry smile. It will be some time yet, but I shall not rest unless it be in a country of peace. Until that day, wait here, and serve your city well.
You're gonna make it, Percival. I just know it. In the meantime, I better practice my curtsy, huh?
I regarded Captain Douglas and his corps. Here were soldiers that had once lived in shame, but courage had been kindled in their hearts, and like candles they now passed its light to others. So does one good turn give rise to another, and valor begets valor. Perhaps the rise of my kingdom was not so far off after all.
I can no longer recall when I first met the captain. All I can say is our paths crossed in dark times, when nights were sleepless, and the wind whispered with insidious intent. Fiendrock, my homeland, was crumbling from within, consumed by the weakness of her own people. I ventured abroad to seek help from our neighbors, but this rendered me blind to schemes hatched in the heart of our court. When I returned, the adders sprung, and I found myself falsely convicted of regicide. Disgraced, I fled the kingdom and wandered for a while in the pathless wild. Perhaps I would still be there, slowly fading into the shadow, had the crew of the Grand Cipher not come for me. The captain never once doubted my innocence, led me back to Fiendrock, and cleared my name. My honor was restored. Thus concluded the greater part of my tale, but the Grand Cipher's myth was just beginning. I joined the crew to see this story unfurl. Our journey, like all great journeys, has passed through both sorrow and joy. We have traversed the wilds, crossed kingdoms forgotten, and met all sorts of folk. I've always found the meeting of people to be miraculous. Throughout the course of history and on into the future, there have been and will be at least as many people as stars in the sky. For any two souls to come together is as wondrous as looking up into the night and seeing your image set against the velvet and winking lights. Do not know if it was fate that brought me and the captain together, but I do know I will never meet such a person again. I intend to sail with the crew to whatever end, even to the bottom of the skies. In my youth, I was vain and headstrong. I shunned the company of others, hurting all who came near me. If I had continued on that path, it's likely I would have died alone, with no one to mourn my loss. But that was not to be. I was discovered by Yosef, the former king of Fiendrock, found, quite literally, by the side of the road. Though at that time, I slew monsters solely out of malice. His Majesty looked at my blade and saw what took life could also save it. He knighted me, and under his guidance, I learned about honor and friendship. I found meaning in existence. But in our world, love is inextricable from grief. New friends and brothers were lost. People that I trusted turned upon me. Loyalty had imbued me with pride. But now, it taught me desperation. Once, this desperation drove me to drink the blood of a dragon. This isn't to say that I regret becoming a knight. Lancelot, Vayne, Percival, the friendship of those three alone is worth any price. I learned the greatest lesson of all from them, that no matter how much is lost, we may always find hope in younger generations. They are what we must fight to defend. They are our purpose. To think all this was set into motion by a single meeting on the side of the road. As I grow older, it becomes clearer how much I owe to King Yosef. But I shall never be able to thank him in person again. That is why I swore to repay him in the only way I know how, by dedicating what is left of my life to the future of his country. I know King Yosef would not want me to grieve overly much for him, but he turned me from a vagabond into the captain of the Black Dragon Knights. Under his rule, the base were ennobled, tall towers were raised, and withered fields burst forth into color. He might have done much more, had traitorous hands not cut his life short. The royal consort Isabella, covetous of his power, killed the king and smeared the guilt of it on me. Unable to prove my innocence, I was forced to flee the capital. For weeks, I was hunted by soldiers I had trained by my own hand, Lancelot foremost among them. My name was now reviled, scrubbed like a stain from the halls of honor. But this caused me little pain, for I never hungered after fame or titles. I served the crown because I loved my country, the same reason for which King Yosef wore it. Even as his body was broken and he lay on the threshold of death, he called only for the mending of Fiendrock. I would not let our home waste away under the shadow of Isabella's ambition. I returned to the Marches, where I dwelled in secret, gathering information. I worked alone, and even Lancelot was kept from my counsels. I did not tell him of my innocence, nor why I sought to cut out the now festering heart of our court. My silence was not due to a lack of trust. It would have been impossible for me to reach Lancelot unseen. Any attempt at communication would likely have ended with my arrest. But even had there been a clear path to Lancelot, I would have kept to myself. Lancelot was, and is, still young, and young minds are easily molded. If I was to leave the protection of the kingdom to him, I needed to be sure that he was more than just clay, that he had an uncorruptible, ironclad core. I needed to be sure he was not the type to blindly follow orders or emotions. He wavered, as we all do, but fortunately, he was not alone. He had the support of his childhood friend, Vayne, and of the Grand Cypher's captain. They were his light and anchor, and with their help, Lancelot navigated the swirling tides of intrigue and arrived at the shores of truth. We were thus reunited, and together delivered Fiendrock from Isabella's clutches. I had fulfilled King Yosef's last wish, and Lancelot had come into his own. It was time for me to step down and place the country in the hands of the young. And so it was that I put the rolling hills and bright walls of my home behind me and embarked on a journey of discovery across the skies. Zega Grande, another new skydom where the clouds hid unfamiliar tales. My travels aboard the Grand Cipher have taken me to many far-flung places, where I have found that there is yet enchantment in this world. I've sought after magical seashells with the power to heal kingdoms. I've crossed blades with legendary warriors, and I've heard strains of alien music, which, though strange to my ears, still spoke to my heart. But no matter how far I roam, my thoughts are constantly with the country King Yosef left in my keeping. When we alight in a foreign land, I find myself drawn not to gardens or taverns, but to places of law and order. I am ever seeking new allies for Fiendrock, and rooting out her enemies. It must seem like I have a mind of cold iron and steel, driven by thoughts of politics and war. And I have no excuse except to say, once a knight, always a knight. Zega Grande had almost fallen under the sway of Avia. Now, as its people rebuilt, I desired to learn whether their fortresses were stronger, and whether any dark shadows still haunted their streets.
What you doing, Siegfried?
Vern appeared at my shoulder one day as I was walking through Seed Hollow. I'm gathering intelligence. The dragon wrinkled his snout.
Man, you're a workaholic.
He wasn't incorrect. I did want to lay aside responsibility and stroll unburdened in the sun, but I couldn't rest easily when duty called.
Hey, what have I helped? 2 weeks are better than none.
Vern was indeed light and fast, but I found it easier to scout alone.
Ugh, come on. I know how to handle myself.
You certainly do. If anything, I felt that the captain, Lyria, and Vern were strong beyond their years. That they had been forced to grow up too fast. All right, Vern, be my guest.
Finally, something to do. Agent Vern is on the job.
Vern twirled deftly in the air.
So, what exactly is the job? What kind of intelligence you looking for?
It's a little abstract. I would like to learn about the values of this country. Why it was founded, for example, or what would cause its people to go to war. For nations with similar values are often quick allies, but nations with conflicting values find themselves enemies.
Yeah, I'm totally following.
Take Fiendrock, for example. Our king and people stand for fellowship and peace. If we were to find out that the leaders of Seed Hollow, on the other hand, favored conquest and power, then we might expect trouble.
What, kind of trouble are we talking here?
Don't worry. I gave Vern what I hoped was a reassuring smile. I am not here to conduct a coup. I only seek information to bring back to Fiendrock, which may help in matters of diplomacy.
Diplomacy? Well, that's way above my pay grade. Aw, dude, I think something just happened over by the gate. I see a bunch of soldiers running that way.
With two flaps of his wings, Vern lifted himself higher into the air and hovered, squinting against the glare of the sun. Seed Hollow's military force. This may be worth looking into. Come.
Right behind you.
A group of onlookers had gathered by the gate, speaking in loud, excited voices.
A monster hunt, huh?
Let us follow them. We may learn something useful. Nothing is so revealing of a person's nature as their deeds in battle. We passed out of the stone city and trudged for a while among grass and dirt paths. Or rather, I did, while Vern rode the winds beside me. Suddenly, he let himself rise on an updraft.
Spotted them! They're going at it!
As he spoke, I became aware of distant cries and the clash of arms. Let's see here. I crept beneath the shadow of dappling leaves and up a small knoll for a better look.
I don't think they can win this thing!
The warriors of Seed Hollow were many, and their faces grim with determination. And yet...
Captain, we can't hold out much longer!
Stand your ground. If these monsters get past us, it's the lives of your friends and family.
They were scattered, weak, and on the brink of disaster.
Vern, I'm going to their aid.
With that, I grasped the hilt of my sword and burst from the cover of the trees.
We gotta hold on!
They're moments away from annihilation. Goblins, come and face me!
Who the hell are you? Get out of here! No place for civilians!
With all due respect, you are not in a position to reject my aid. Focus on keeping yourself safe.
Great! Alright, fine. That sword of yours better not just be for show.
Your end is nigh! How is he mowing down all these half-beasts?
I can see circles around the half-beasts.
Yeah, I can see that. Stop gawking and tend to the wounded.
We're gonna make it.
Heads up! Got monsters coming in from above!
Bear with! By my own surrender! Preach it! Pray! The next wave is coming! Quickly, get to safety!
Bad news. Goblin soldier marching this way!
There's no way he can handle that alone. Who's still got juice in them? Back into the fray!
No, stay put. We'll not be able to win with you as a burden. Push through! Let our blade. Don't mistake mercy for weakness.
You cleared them out!
You are all safe now.
I can't believe my eyes. Is that guy really human?
We could have handled them alone. You know we could have. Think of how hard we've trained.
The The cry of the last monster faded to nothingness, and I sheathed my sword.
Oh, man! They're lucky we got here in the nick of time!
Danger averted, Vern drifted to my side.
Well met, Skyfarers.
The soldiers from Seed Hollow gathered themselves and limped to form ranks. At their head, a man I believed was their captain stood, frowning at us.
You guys must be dying to thank us. I take payment in apples, by the way.
Vern wasn't quite reading the mood.
So you know your way around a sword. Great. We appreciate the help and all, but could you not interfere with official military business?
What?
We're professional soldiers. We can handle monsters without you swinging in to save the day.
Number one, that's a lie. Number two, what's with the attitude?
That's enough, Vern. The dragon looked ready to spout fire. Hoping to calm him, I caught him and held him in my arms. I'm sorry. We mean no disrespect. With a bow, I turned and left that shadowy glade. I did not relax my grip on Vern because I felt certain that if I let go, he would flip back and spit venom in the soldiers' faces.
Need something? What was wrong with them? They would have been toast without you.
Vern flew beside me, seething. We are strangers to this land. Those soldiers have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, but doesn't it get you riled up when people are so rude?
I laughed. If rudeness were the worst foe we ever faced, we'd be lucky warriors indeed. In truth, I empathize with them. It is the duty of a soldier to fight. Incompetence on the battlefield is a matter of great shame. My unwanted assistance was salt in the wound.
I guess I could see that, but still.
Listen, no one was badly hurt. That is all that matters. I had trained many knights in my day. They had gone through their growing pains, and tasting defeat and humiliation. Yes, failure is bitter, but it is nourishment. And thus the knights learned and grew, each and every one of them, into powerful warriors. When it came to the finer points of warfare, the forces of Seed Hollow were clumsy at best. But their sense of duty was unparalleled. Upon hearing rumors of danger, they had acted swiftly, marching without fear to the monster's den. And though they had been forced to the very cusp of annihilation, not a soldier had wavered or fled. Now, they too had drunk deeply of the medicine of defeat. I believe it would course through them like fire and bring them newfound strength. The forces of Seed Hollow were capable of much, much more. I entered the warm wooden interior of my cabin on the Grand Cipher, carrying an armful of books. I laid them on the desk, drew out a chair, and took a short trip through Seed Hollow's history. Unbroken peace. For 500 years after the ending of the war, violence had not troubled the skies of Zeka Grande. There were your usual skirmishes, of course, power-hungry rebels, etc. but nothing so big it had not been quickly sorted out and buried in the sands of time. However, 15 years ago, tragedy on Dolly Island acted as a catalyst to the rise of Avia. Hitherto peaceful primals went on rampage, and hordes of monsters were drawn to the carnage. So that's why. I thought back to the disordered ranks of the forces of Seed Hollow. Peace had dulled their senses. They had forgotten how to handle swords and spears, forgotten how to manage monsters, each one vastly different in shape and movement. They need guidance. The people of Seed Hollow seem to be gardeners, fond of orchards and good rich earth. They had no love of war, nor possessed the means for a great campaign. Unless a revolution were to completely reshape this country, I did not believe it would ever pose a threat to Fiendrock. Its forces existed not to invade, but solely to defend. But now, they had not even the power to do that. Seed Hollow soldiers were steadfast and honorable. I had seen that. But they no longer knew how to protect their land. I had come to admire the delicate flowers and many bowed trees that flourished in this clime, and did not wish to see them trampled under a monster's claw or an invader's boot. I could offer Seed Hollow's forces counsel, but I would have to tread carefully. After all, I was a foreigner, and a former captain of knights. One misstep, and I could forever sour the relations between Seed Hollow and Fiendrock. I will have to be discreet. I threw on my traveling cloak and arranged my pouch. Hearing no footfalls outside my room, I slipped through the door and padded softly down the corridor.
Oh, hey, Siegfried. You heading out?
Vern spotted me on the deck of the Grand Cipher. So much for stealing off unnoticed. I'm going for a walk.
On your tiptoes? No way, man. I bet you're going on another one of your secret missions.
Though small, Vern had inherited the legendary wisdom of the dragons. Guilty as charged. But the fewer people who know about it, the better. Can you keep this from the others?
Come on, Siegfried. We all know you won't yak for truth and honor and justice and all that. If you're gonna disappear, you should at least tell your captain. My butt'll understand.
I could find no objection. It seemed that all the adventures Vern had been on, all the grand and wondrous things he'd seen, had sharpened his insight. Yes, of course. You're right. I followed Vern to the captain's cabin. I've come to ask for permission to leave on a private mission. But I must warn you, if things go wrong, it could spell trouble for the crew. My throat was tight, light nerves, I supposed, and a touch of guilt. The captain did no more than smile and wish me a safe journey.
What'd you expect? We trust you.
Fortune truly had graced me with the best of companions. I strode through the gates of Seed Hollow.
So, what you gonna do here?
With a dragon on my tail. I would like to ask you the same question. Why did you follow me?
Curiosity. What's a cool knight like you always doing when he leaves the Grand Cipher?
Curiosity killed the lizard. But no matter. Vern and the captain had offered me their complete trust, so I could do the same in return. Besides, if anything were to happen, I'd be there to protect him. You're welcome to stay. but I am only visiting Seed Hollow's forces again to offer help if I may. Nothing of interest.
Sounds like something my bud would do. But I thought you were gonna leave them alone to help them save face or whatever.
I was, but I realized that, in the end, the safety of the people is too heavy a price to pay for pride.
That's fair. No offense though, Siegfried. Your way with words is a little, special. So I'll just come along and do the talking.
20 minutes later, Vern and I were in the heart of Seed Hollow, watching its soldiers scurry about like mice. 500 years of peace has truly taken its toll. Seed Hollow's forces had become only an army in name. In truth, the military affairs of the country were run by Zothba, the civilian and information broker. Everyone took orders from him.
Dispatch from Zothba. We got a lost child on our hands. Everyone, split up and search for the mother.
Yes, sir!
Man, you ever just get lost and have a whole army look for your mom?
Vern hovered by the branches of a tall oak, surveying the commotion with shining eyes. It is important to serve your people in times of concord as in times of strife, but I fear they have lost sight of their true duty. There is a saying, it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Peace should never so lull a nation that its defenses are abandoned and its soldiers turned into clerks and errand boys.
Captain, new orders just came in. We're being sent to clear a horde of goblins camped right outside the city.
Now these errand boys faced hordes of monsters who had been roused by Avia's machinations. 500 years of stillness, nature, and peace gone. All at the whim of a madwoman.
You hear that, troops? Prepare for battle! Drive those goblins away from our homes!
Yes, sir!
They sure got bark. Problem is, they ain't got bite.
Are you worried about them?
Aren't you? You saw them get their butts kicked into the next Skydom just a few days ago.
I did, but failure is the mother of success. I readjusted my gauntlet and shifted my sword on my back. This is a chance for them to grow. I'll make sure of it. Vern and I left Seed Hollow and turned off the road, beating a straight path to the goblins' encampment through trees and underbrush. We arrived before the soldiers. In front of us, half hidden in the darkness of a cave, slinked the forms of dozens of goblins. Alone, goblins are not much of a threat, but when they're allowed to form hordes,
Oh, I know all about those smart little suckers. They can plot stuff and coordinate and everything.
I smiled. Vern was as much of a veteran as I was.
So earlier, you sounded like you were gonna help these soldiers out. What exactly have you got planned?
As you know, all monsters are different and must be dealt with in different ways. We shall teach these tactics to the soldiers, but from the shadows. Plan rehearsed, Vern and I crept from the shade of the trees and into the mouth of the cave. Ready? Our mission awaits. We've got to break their formations. First, let's go for a frontal assault on the sentries.
The army from Seed Hollow will be here any minute now! Hurry!
Don't worry. We won't even need a minute.
We made it! Looks like the soldiers are still prepping for the fight.
Perfect. That gives us just enough time to thin down their main ranks.
lot of them!
Well, let's fix that, shall we? Don't mistake mercy for weakness! I can't believe they had so large a force. It's a good thing we came.
Reinforcements! You got this, Siegfried! Hey! We gotta get back and teach those bad guys a lesson!
Bear with!
Nice work! I think the soldiers can pick off what's left.
I think there are a few more goblins hidden, but likely not enough to reverse the tide. We had still better conduct a search, just to be safe. Let's go in deeper.
Look! It's a goblin soldier! And what are those? It's little sidekicks?
I don't think Seed Hollow's forces will be able to handle this. We should at least bring down the goblin soldier.
So leave all the small fry alone? Got it! Don't want to rob Seed Hollow's finest of a job. Watch out for the shooter! Work!
Let our blades do the talk. Brave away! Your end is nigh! Well, I think we're done here. The army from Seed Hollow should be capable of handling the rest.
All right, let's head deeper in. Stay together and stay focused.
Aw, snap! Seems like they caught up. Let's hide!
Be gone! Ready!
Holy Bahamut! We did it!
The day is ours. Good work, troops.
Vern and I crouched behind a craggy boulder and watched as the soldiers strode about the battlefield. Not a goblin was left. The voices of the triumphant rose up and resonated about the high, cool walls of the cavern. All went well.
I guess, but those soldiers took a heck of a beating.
Vern perched himself on top of the boulder, head cocked to one side. They will continue to grow. They have experience now, and what's more, confidence. They will learn to keep their wits about them in battle, to observe the enemy and strategize.
If you're sure, there's something I've been wondering about though, Siegfried. You didn't have to help these people. You're not even getting paid for this. So why go through the trouble?
I laughed softly. I think you already know the answer to that riddle. Because everything good in this world is worth protecting.
Good day.
Three days after the victory in the caves, Vern rushed into my cabin.
Dude, he's here! The captain of Seed Hollow's army is here!
Here, on the Grand Cipher. My eyebrows drew themselves together. I was quite certain we hadn't been seen.
Do you think he figured us out?
No, that shouldn't be possible. I had lived and worked in the shadows for many years. I knew how to remain invisible. Let us meet him in any case. It would be discourteous to turn him away.
Agreed! We're lots of things, but rude ain't one of them.
Vern led me to a spacious room on the Grand Cipher, where our guest sat perched on the edge of a comfortable chair, his hands upon his knees. He stood up quickly when we entered.
It's, been a while.
He wouldn't quite meet my eyes. As the young man swallowed rather loudly, I recalled his last words to me. We can handle monsters without you swinging in to save the day. It has. I still regret my actions in the forest. Is that what you've come to talk about?
No,
He shook his head vigorously.
I'm here to thank you. You saved my life and the lives of my comrades.
So, our presence had been noticed. I swept my cloak back in a deep bow. I apologize for interfering yet again.
Oh, no, please, stop with the apologies. You're just making me feel worse. Listen.
He explained. 3 days ago, Seed Hollow's army had been called upon to drive back a horde of goblins. He had marched his company there with a heavy heart, expecting great losses. But to his surprise, when they emerged from the goblin den, they were not missing even a single soldier.
Goblins are intelligent. They post sentinels and form ranks, just like we do. Sword fighters and shield bearers in front, mages in back. Any battle with them should have been tough and bloody.
Yet these goblins had no set sentries, and their forces were meager and scattered. Even the large beast the goblins kept in reserve had been terribly weakened by the time Seed Hollow's forces reached it.
But what could have worn it out like that? A night of partying too hard? No. Someone had to have helped us, and luckily, I had an inkling who.
Now he raised his round, earnest face and looked straight at me.
There was this knight who'd saved my troops before. He wore jet black armor and carried a crimson sword.
Yeah, no way you'd forget that getup after seeing it once.
Vern peered down at my armor. It was matte black, so I could slip by in the night unseen. But I suppose outlined against the light of the sun, it cut quite a distinctive figure.
The rest really wasn't that difficult. Went with that description to a merchant who deals with a lot of foreign traffic, and learned about a former knight captain.
I see. Years away from the battlefield had dulled the army's swords. This I already knew. But now I realize it had allowed them to build rapport with their people, winning them trusted eyes and ears throughout their country.
If anyone should be apologizing, it's me.
Before I could stop him, he went down on one knee.
That day in the forest, I was frustrated and ashamed by the weakness of my troops. So I took it out on you. I'm sorry. You saved my soldiers not only once, but twice. And the second time around, you even made sure we learned from the experience. I really don't know how to make it up to you.
Vern and I looked at each other, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. Your kind words are more than enough, and your forgiveness. The young man opened his mouth, but I shook my head. Whatever the circumstances, I still trampled your pride underfoot.
What's pride when compared to life?
To speak the truth, I thought Seed Hollow's forces poorly trained and disorganized, from an outsider's perspective at least. By placing a hand beneath the man's elbow, I silently bid him rise. But I see now that you have strength and wisdom that was hidden to me. With you in command, I have no doubt your company will go on to accomplish great things.
That means a lot, coming from you.
He smiled, the tension melting from his frame.
But the fact remains that I let my soldiers get out of practice. You've helped me realize a lot these past few days, and I promise we'll train harder than ever, make up for lost time, and become the defenders this country deserves.
Good. Never stop believing in yourselves. Seed Hollow, a land of gardeners who derive joy from the bounty of flora and the simplicity of peace. Though they were no longer, those Seed Hollows